Oh, yes, come right in. Sorry. Dealing with a bit of a pest problem. Come here. Stop that. Who let you in? Must be a hole around here somewhere. They may look cute, but trust me, they are nothing of the sort. Sorry, you don't want to have to deal with this. You should go on in. They're already inside, ready and waiting. Have a good time. Oh, get him! Get away! Grimly! Sick it!
Hello and welcome to the Littlepodcast of horrors.
See, you guys would understand how funny that is because right now Christina's got a filter on that's giving her one giant eyeball and alien antennas.
I'm precious. I kind of look like what's her name from Futurama?
Futurama? That's
Kayla.
what yes, I was thinking that too.
Yeah, that's what I'm channeling today.
I love it.
We do a lot of visual gags for our audio only podcast.
You know, some things are just for us, James, and that's okay. And it's okay to treat ourselves.
This is our special little gift to ourselves.
Exactly.
Christina, you are our special little gift to ourselves every day.
She is the gift that keeps on giving.
Y'all are so blessed.
We really are. In all seriousness, we always think about that. Like, God, we're lucky.
Well, enough with this chit chat. I have a
Yeah.
story, so let's get to it.
Well, fuck that and your little feelings. Let's get on with the show, you little bitches. Oh gosh, I'm so lucky.
So this story is a little different than I guess what I would normally do. We're actually going to do a folklore type story.
Because we didn't do that in the last episode at all.
Well, and okay, but I'm specifically, I don't know, there's some lore around like a real person, right? There are no real people here. So
I get you.
but I also wanted to do this particular story because it leads into what will hopefully be an episode very soon where we interview the wife of our beloved Christopher. Katie, we want to interview her about the Fae, and so that
Oh,
is what
yay.
the story
Yeah.
is gonna help prime the pump for.
Prime the pump.
Prime the pump. All right. So with that, let's get into it.
Let's dig into it. Rock and roll.
All right. It begins with a knock at the door. A sleepy midwife opens the door to find a stranger cloaked in shadows. He begs her to come with him. His wife is in labor and she needs her help. The midwife agrees, unaware she's being taken to a place no mortal is meant to see.
Detroit.
Detroit. By morning, she will lose more than sleep. She'll lose one of her very own eyeballs.
Oh no, not her eyeballs.
Yep, for she saw something she was not meant to see. This is the story of the midwife's eye.
And how she got this really cool eye patch.
Yeah, almost my little filter thing was almost a pirate with like one patch over it. And I was like, but no, I like this one eyeball. So,
Oh, I love it. I love it.
so back in them olden days in Europe,
Back in them olden days in Europa.
Whatever happened to Europe?
I don't know. Some say it's still there.
To this day.
To this very day.
okay, so back in them olden days in Europe, the belief in like fairies, the Fae realm, all that, that wasn't just really folklore for them. It felt very real. They and also fairies like when they were telling stories about fairies, they were not the cute little winged creatures that we tend to think of today.
They were baby thieving bitches.
They were baby thieving bitches indeed. Chris is
Oh
spot
man.
on. They're very powerful. And I believe, I guess Katie will fill us in on this, but I believe the cute little image of the fairy came about in the Victorian era. Like that is a relatively new like image of what they would look like. Anyway,
I
You
don't
know,
want Tinkerbell to eat babies.
with James and Barry, that was his name, who wrote Peter Pan, I think.
I'm not even sure actually. Where was I?
Peter Pan would be so different if it was like a lore accurate Tinkerbell.
Oh my gosh. She was the one snatching up the kids for sure.
He would be her bitch. He would be doing what she asked him to do, and he'd probably be terrified of her too.
Yeah. And they're definitely not leaving for sure. All right, so you don't want to fuck with fairies, not for real. So a lot of stories about the Fae didn't make them sound like human lovers or lovers of humans, human lovers.
Human lovers
Well, I've just made the episode sexual, so open that door.
and cross species.
Human lovers getting kinky with Tinkerbell.
I love me a human.
Okay,
Also, for the
so
record, the author of Peter Pan was J. M. Barrie.
oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sure our listeners were screaming at us.
Or, well, J stood for James, so I was right. It was James Barrie.
Nice. All right, so the fairies didn't typically like humans all that much. Like they were fucking with us left, right, and center. So if you were to cross into the Fey world or the Fey realm or the other side, what do you want, whatever you want to call it, whether it's by accident or invitation, there were some serious consequences for humans. And a lot of the times, the person's not going to come back. Some of the ways you could accidentally find yourself in the land of the fairy. Imagine you are walking along and you stumble upon a hollow hill, as you do, just stumble upon it.
What a
Oh,
lovely
this
day.
hill sure looks hollow.
Do 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 do. Just enjoying this. Oh shit! Where did that hollow hill come from?
So the Celtic people referred to these types of mounds as she mounds. So that's spelled Sidhe, if you want to look those up. But these were burial mounds or hills that were considered to be entrances to the Fae court. So if you pass through these like hidden doorways and these mounds, you would directly enter into the Fae realm.
Wait, but how do you know if a mound is hollow or not?
You walk into it.
Oh, well, I mean, so if you just traipse inside the interior of a mound, and that's on you.
There might be some consequences, yes.
I do believe this mound is hollow because I am within it, and also there's Fae around me. Well, shit. So long, Margaret.
So another way you can find yourself among the fairy are through dreams or trances. For example, if you fell asleep under a hawthorn tree, as you do, or you entered a dreamlike trance, then you could be transported into the Fey realm.
Was this a Nathaniel Hawthorne tree that is identified only with a big giant A on the trunk? Whoa! I almost fell asleep under this hawthorn tree. That could have been bad. I'm gonna go over that pine instead. Thank God for the A.
Literary jokes.
Literary jokes. If anybody's like, I don't get it. Well, um, no comment.
You're being too highbrow for me right now, Christopher.
For our listeners, Nathaniel Hawthorne was the writer of The Scarlet Letter. And in the story of The Scarlet Letter, the woman is branded an adulteress by them branding an A on all of her outfits. That's the joke. Thank you for joining this TED Talk.
Thank you, Chris. You're so funny.
This is what happens when you're married to an English major.
Okay, well, if you find yourself wandering about in the woods and you hear mysterious music, no, you didn't.
Oh, that's like the no you didn't rule in Appalachia.
Yes.
No, you didn't.
Or if you see a light with an unknown source, no, you didn't.
But what if it's some happy music?
What if
Like,
it's, I mean, if it's
you just
James,
want to
if
go
they
check
want,
it out and see if people do doing a little jig or something.
or for James, if it's metal music, they're just like, we
That's true.
are the bay, lay down. James is like, well, take care, guys. I can't
Go check
resist.
that out.
Well, then James was taken by a will-o'-the-wisp or a fae of some sort. Goodbye,
Could,
James.
could you imagine a metal fae band? Like they're just little fae and they're like grunge, like long, and they're just like, just,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
and that's how we lose them.
I'm okay with it.
R.I.P. James. So James has followed the will-o'-the-wisp and he's been spirited away into the fairy world. We'll never see that guy again.
See, I'm already trying to get him out of deals with Crossroad Demons, and now I'm trying to save him from Metal Fae. Like
Being lured by
my
fairies.
job never ends, guys. It just never ever ends.
Oh. Many fae may even invite you or trick you into coming.
Hey, come on down. Nothing bad's gonna happen. It's all good.
So if they trick you again, they could use music, like we said. They might also use food. So James is definitely gone.
Here's a big juicy pizza for you. Don't worry. It's all gonna be fine. Look how delicious it looks.
I
Gotcha.
mean,
Or they may even lure you with riddles for the super curious of mind.
yeah, that would work too.
Riddle me this. Who's a dumbass that believes everything we tell him? You bitch, gotcha.
That's not a riddle. That's just mean.
You're sitting there like, wait, I don't get it. What? Oh, shit.
Okay, now James, if they offer you a gift, what do you do?
You take it and say thank you.
No.
You do the opposite of that.
See, this is why we would have to, like, every time I saw a white panel van, I was like, shit. James, come here.
If you have found yourself in the Fey realm, James, and they offer you a gift and you accept it, you could find yourself trapped there forever.
But you have
All
a
you
gift,
can do- Yes.
and it's free.
And it was free. Well, I mean, it cost you your soul.
Well, you said I'm trapped there forever. So I can't go anywhere else. But you've established that I have free stuff, music, food. I mean, there are worse outcomes I can think of.
Well, I mean, they take your soul, they just take you. I mean, like,
No, they take you, but you might live forever or you might die and become their meal. I don't know.
they eat your soul? Ew.
Wait, there's a possible live forever out of this deal?
Well,
You're not
okay,
helping that.
Sounding better by the minute.
hold on. Okay, I got that from some smutty fairy erotica, so I don't know if that's true fairy lore or not.
Wait.
What?
Do we have smutty erotic fairies giving gifts, free pizza, and music?
Okay, the gifts part I got not out
Don't
of
threaten
that
me
book,
with a good time. There was literally just a strike of thunder after I said that.
Wow.
The fairies have answered. They've heard your call.
I'm gonna get a call from his wife tomorrow. James is missing. Shit. He's listening to metal music, getting great food, and might be fucked by fairies. Damn it.
Having free pizza and gifts at the Metal Fairy Strip Club, apparently.
Oh my gosh. All right. Well, there are also some other liminal spaces and times where you can accidentally stumble into the Fey realm. So one of those liminal times would be a very popular holiday, Halloween, Samhain. When they say the veil is thinnest during that time. Could also be
Oh,
at
that's when they have
midnight.
the themed costumes.
That's where they have what?
The themed costumes.
Yep, they're waiting. Some other timing. So midnight. So any old midnight.
Any old.
Twilight.
Just any old midnight, you might just stumble into the fair realm. And especially if it's midnight on Halloween, like you are double
You're
effed.
gone. All right, Christopher, at thresholds like the crossroads.
At the crossroads.
At wells, so places like that. But
So don't go collecting your well water at midnight on Halloween. What are
At a
you
crossroad.
thinking at a crossroads? What are you thinking right now?
okay, I'm sorry. Okay, but well, wells, I mean, that's a waterway. And remember, we've talked about how waterways are
Yes,
like portals. So just another portal.
just another portal
So
on
be
a,
careful getting your water, period, any
on
time of the day.
another midnight on another Halloween.
Any time of the day, be careful. Okay, and of course, don't forget the famed fairy rings, which look like
You
a ring.
Who could forget about the famed fairy rings? They're famed. Everybody knows about the fairy rings.
You know, they're famous to me, but I'm in the witchy circles, so
The famed fairy rings by the famed well on by the famed crossroads at midnight on Halloween. You're just asking for it at this point, really?
well, do you remember what happened to Netta Fernario? She was found on a fairy mound in a fairy ring.
Oh,
How could I forget?
yeah.
Famed Christopher. Okay, so these might look like a ring of mushrooms with an empty patch in the center. It could also be like rings of flowers or something like that.
Okay,
Depends on how stoned they are.
Mhm.
that's really you guys remember the house that we've talked about, me and Courtney, the Ted Burton circle where I saw the little gremlin and like all
Yeah.
these weird things happen. So when I
They have
started
a
my
ring of mushrooms in it.
Well, so when I started this new job, my first week, I was actually hanging out in a different apartment upstairs with these two ladies who, one of which coincidentally her name was Courtney, and she was talking to her husband. And at one point, she mentions Ted Burns Circle, and I went, "What?" And we had gotten into talking about paranormal stuff. She liked that stuff. I was like, "That's where we lived when all that stuff happened." And she's like, "Yeah." My husband was apparently his job. He works, I forget whatever he did, but for whatever reason, he was there on Tedburn. And if I remember correctly, it was my house, my old house, and he saw a circular ring of mushrooms in the yard.
Do not step in the ring of mushrooms.
Do not.
Does not matter how pretty the grass is in there. Don't do it.
What about if there's just cake sitting in the middle?
Definitely.
My job never ends.
So, what do you think are some consequences if you accidentally enter the fairy worlds? You know, other than never coming back, like we said, potentially.
I mean, so far it sounds kind of awesome. Why would you want to come back?
That's what they want you to think, man.
Well, mission accomplished. I'm sold.
Goodbye, James.
I'm getting more gray hairs as this podcast goes on.
I hope you can still Zoom with us to do our episodes when you get over there.
Well, maybe if I commit to helping them attract more people in, they'll let me do it.
You want to know how he'll end up hating it? You want to know how he'll end up regretting every choice that he made that led him to that decision? That everyone wears soft blue little velvet suits. They all listen to Celine Dion and Sarah McLachlan. There is no video games. There is no metal whatsoever, and no pizza.
I
That
choose to
place
believe
burned down.
the
What?
fairy realm would be cooler.
As soon as he gets over there, it's I will remember you. What is this? This is what we listen to all day long. Oh, hold on. Celine Dion's coming on.
Can't find his way out. The entrance is gone.
I will burn everything.
It's a huge toddler fidge.
Yes.
Okay, well, one of the consequences might be time distortion. So you enter the fairy world on a Tuesday, 2025, and you come out Wednesday, 3200.
Oh, my sense of time is distorted anyway. That's okay. No big deal.
So now you're in the future. You're the same age, but everybody you know is dead and gone.
So
Yeah,
now
but
you're adding time travel to the
as
package?
I say,
Yep.
now you're kind of winning me over. Like, but are there
That's the bad
future?
part.
But are there future cars and cool shit? Like, you come out and suddenly, like, it's like Star Trek. Like, well, shit, I got lucky. But your whole family's there. I'll see him again at some point. I'll die too.
Rest in peace.
But until then, I'm getting on a starship, baby. I'm going to planet Vulcan.
All right. Well, another fun consequence is if you get to return, you may have some physical changes. So you may end up with some strange marks on your body. So some cute new birthmarks. Maybe you get like a Harry Potter like lightning bolt scar.
Okay, okay.
That'd be
I'm
cool.
cool with it.
You might have silver hair instead of like your brown hair.
Shit, the man,
Sweet.
she's really winning me over now.
Your eyes may glow a little.
Okay, go on. What?
And you may come back with the ability to see spirits or fey creatures in our mortal world.
I think I'm gonna leave you all to finish this episode early. I need to go find some mushrooms.
I really thought she was building up to something darker. She's like, you may end up with like a six pack.
You may come
you know,
back being an actual X-Man.
you may, yeah, you might have the ability to levitate at will, or you might come back with the ability 14 dicks and explosive diarrhea every time you have to pee.
Well, let's return to our midwife instead.
Yes, let's.
Oh yeah, there was a midwife.
All right, it's a chilly evening, well into the night. It's always late, and our midwife is asleep in her cottage in the English countryside.
Like she is.
It's way too late for people to be visiting, but a knock at the door awakens her. So this may happen actually from time to time because she is a midwife, right? So babies desperately wanting to enter the world don't really care about your sleep schedule. So when you think of it that way, you know, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they're like, here I come, asshole.
yeah, but she's still like, damn it, it's middle of the night. I was dreaming about, I
I was
don't know,
dreaming about milking cows and
Pedro Pascal or something. I don't know.
this guy named Pedro Pascal that's going to exist like in 400 years. He's sexy.
Where did Pascal come from?
I don't know. That's
From your
a
deepest,
dream.
wildest dreams. That's where he came from. You don't
Anyway.
ask you don't ask where Pedro Pascal comes from. You just thank God he did. The
Very-
end.
Grateful he arrived.
Yeah, you're just all you need to do is be grateful that he did.
There is so much in the episode for me to keep up with here.
We have faith that you can. Because you got all the time in the world, because your ass is going to end up in the Fey realm anyway.
Okay, well, the midwife, she opens the door, and sadly, it's not Pedro Pascal. It's a complete stranger and not someone she's seen around town. But he's a handsome man dressed in fine clothing that she's never seen before in her life. Like, she's not seen anything of this quality before in her life. He's desperate.
Well, this story's theme is changing quickly.
Just immediately changing. He's
Got a
desperate,
stranger at the
though.
door.
A gorgeous, desperate man at the door who is
A man in
not
fine clothes.
he's not Pedro
He's
Pascal, but he might be played by Pedro Pascal.
He's desperate and lonely. Just needs to be in a warm bed with someone.
I need to be held tonight.
Okay. So he's desperate though.
How desperate was he?
Don't forget, this man is desperate.
Desperate.
I just gotta keep restarting. Okay, so his wife is giving birth to their first child, and she's struggling. She may not make
This
it.
is time to be desperate, sir.
You know, James, we've already had listeners get on to us about interrupting her. Let the woman finish her story about the guy, not Pedro Pascal, but played by Pedro Pascal.
Okay, so his wife is giving birth. It's their first child. She's struggling. She may not make it through the night. They need a fucking professional. So his desperation moves her. So she agrees to go with the strange man in the middle of the night. She hastily packs her midwifery tools.
Midwifery tools.
Midwifery tools, yes.
I know that you're desperate, not Pedro Pascal, but hold on one moment while I pack my midwifery tools.
She needs her cloths and whatever else their salves and things.
Her claws and saws? What kind of midwife is this?
Cloths, like
Cloths.
rags.
I need
And
my washcloths because it's gonna get messy, Pedro. Not Pedro.
God.
You're gonna say shit you didn't know was even possible.
And not saws, salves, like Salves.
Oh man, I was getting excited.
I don't know. I think I prefer claws and saws.
Okay, well, she packs her chainsaw, into her bag, and they jet off, okay?
This baby's coming out one way or another.
She jets off on her chainsaw like a flying broom.
This
Into
keeps
the
getting
night
more and
to
more metal.
fly with my midwifery.
Witches riding chainsaws, man.
There's
It's
the
freaking
next
awesome.
t-shirt idea. Someone called the midwife. What the fuck?
Okay, so they're riding through the night. It's been a long time, honestly. She's like, this is a weirdly long time. It's making me uncomfortable. She doesn't recognize her surroundings anymore. They've gone so far. She's really questioning her life decisions at this point.
Man,
When
look
they
at she's
find,
flying around on a chainsaw with not Pedro Pascal.
oh, now I envision her as like Aubrey Plaza or something, just doing like that witch cackle thing she does.
Oh my God. This is gonna give me amazing dreams later.
Okay, so she's really questioning her life decisions. At this point, when they finally arrive to a really lavish estate, but it's weirdly silent. There are like no people working, there's no screaming from, I don't know, gory, gruesome childbirth. I don't know. So they enter, and she enters into a grand corridor, and he leads her up these like super luxurious staircases down through like winding maze of hallways. And he finally pushes open a door, and it reveals like a dimly lit room where they find the his wife lying on a bed. She's like weak from agony, trying to give birth to this big-headed baby. So the midwife jumps into action immediately. She's barking orders. She's like, get this water, heat these tools up,
Bring me
whatever.
my chainsaw and claws. This shit's about to go down. Get on it, not Pedro.
Right. So she's assisting the mother. And after what feels like 3 days, this damn baby is finally born. It's healthy, it's screaming, it's annoying. So with a job well done, the midwife, she's packing her stuff, she's turning to leave. But before she goes, the strange man asks her to please apply some special ointment to the baby's eyes. But be careful, he says. Use just a tiny bit, and under no circumstances should you touch your own face.
Geez, I'd be like, okay, who's the midwife here, sir? I don't tell you how to do your job.
Do I come in and tell you how to act in The Last of Us? No, I don't. Don't presume to tell me how to do my midwifery.
Okay. Well, it's Pedro Pascal, so the midwife does what she's told.
As I would too.
So she goes to the baby with the ointment. She puts a little dollop on her finger. She's about to rub the ointment in the baby's eyes. The baby's like thrashing. He's being a little crybaby bitch. He's screaming, he's thrashing. And it startles the midwife. She accidentally touches her face with her hand with the ointment on it, and it gets a tiny bit brushed into the corner of her eye. Suddenly, it's like a veil lifts. The midwife can now see clearly. Everything is vivid, like colors are brighter, but the room is changing, it's warping, it's shifting. And when the picture finally settles, she realizes she's not in a warm bedroom in a chateau. She's in a freezing cold cave.
And that, folks, was the first LSD trip.
Yep. The child before her is not a human baby, and the parents, well, they were not human either. The couple towered above her with like strange, sleek features, with like eyes with slitted pupils and skin that like gleamed in the candlelight.
You'd hope that in that moment you could just completely keep your composure and just be like, "Oh, I almost touched my face, but I didn't. Everything looks completely as it did before." Hello, not Pedro Pascal. Anyway, let's put the lotion there. Everything's fine now. I'm gonna head on home. Yeah, I don't see anything out of the ordinary. It's good to. I'm glad I could help. Bye.
That's like exactly what happens. The midwife is fucking smart. So she makes no expression or reaction
Holy
that gives
shit!
away
I
the
thought you were
fact.
kidding. Oh my God, way to go.
She makes no reaction whatsoever, giving herself away. She doesn't want them to know that she knows they're not human. Pretends
I,
like everything's still the same as when she entered.
I would still want to bang you, not Pedro Pascal.
You're still fine.
You are still sexy. What a beautiful little baby boy. I love this. This is a beautiful home. I'm glad you brought me here. I'm happy.
I'm honored.
Yeah. I'm so glad that I got to use my claws and saws on y'all.
All right, so she's still pretending. She slaps that ointment on that baby's eyes and she gets her money. She gets the fuck out of there. So weeks go by, and the midwife is out and about shopping in the local market, looking for fresh herbs, fruits, vegetables, when she sees the strange man that came to her home in the middle of the night and begged her for her help. But this time he's cloaked in a glamour magic, which makes him invisible to everybody else, so only she can see him. Being the ballsy babe that the midwife is, she decides to approach him. When she walks up, he says,
So you've seen me as I truly am, you badass bitch.
Exact quote.
The midwife nods in pride, obviously. And this pisses the guy off. He snaps his fingers, and suddenly she loses vision in the eye that was touched with the ointment that night. The midwife got to keep her life, but there was a cost to helping that night. And there was a cost to, I don't know, not following directions explicitly.
Why
Sorry.
is this, why is
Cost
this
to
dude
being
so
boastful.
why is this dude so pissy about his ointment?
I mean, if he didn't want this to accidentally happen, why did he even let her put that on
I don't know.
the
Maybe
baby in
if
the
your
first
baby
place?
wasn't such a freaking bitch and like fucking startled me, like, damn.
This is just the thing, though. Like, he could have put that ointment on that baby's eyes and not risked any of this. This just goes to show how lazy some men can be.
The
Yeah,
real
way to
magic here was negligence.
Yes.
expected more from you, Pedro.
All right, so our midwife, she gets to keep her life, but she's not untouched by her interaction with the Fae. She's going to go the rest of her life blind in that eye. So this is a common folktale on the British Isles. Sorry, I'm confused by my own little note. That doesn't even make sense. Okay.
I couldn't tell, by the way, with your giant eye and the fact that you're just like stroking your little strand of hair there.
A little
Like,
tiny strand of
it
hair.
almost looked like you were lost in the memory of what you did to that woman. Like, she's about to reveal that she is Pedro Pascal.
It's me.
I love you.
Okay, so this is a common folktale on the British Isles, and sometimes, like, the story varies. So sometimes in the story, she is like a healer or an herbalist, and sometimes she is spirited away entirely, so like taken to the Fey world, and then she's not allowed to return. So what's the real message of this story?
Don't put stuff in your eye?
I think that's a good one. Don't put mystery ointments in your eye.
A lesson for us all, truly.
But maybe it's also a warning to not fuck with magic, not to open your doors to strangers. Or maybe it's a story about the importance of keeping your word, following directions. Some folklorists think the fairy ointment represents like the hallucinogenic salves that were used in rituals. So we've already had an episode about hallucinogens like DMT and the potential to experience God and the worlds like beyond our own, right? So the hallucinogen acting as its own portal to the land of the gods. The blindness would be the punishment or the cost of obtaining or seeking to obtain forbidden knowledge. So it's a warning to stay in your lane. That was my little take. This story is a little more than just a fairy like lore story. It's apocryphal. So it could also be a warning to women to do what they're told, that no woman skilled or educated is exempt from the discipline of the patriarchy. In a lot of cultures and a lot of myths, seeing the truth is dangerous. So like when you get the ability to see things that other people can't see, like, you know, let's take Cassandra, for instance, like she has prophetic visions, but she's like cursed.
Nobody listens to her.
Exactly. So seeing is a dangerous thing to be able to do.
So yeah, I'm just seeing Pedro Pascal turning in the right way, and then you just see that juicy ass, and it's just too beautiful, and you're like, you've seen it. You've seen it, true beauty. Yes. Yes, I have. No mortal is meant to see that.
No more.
Blind in the eye.
Pedro Pascal is a fake affirm.
That's the
Oh my
only
gosh, there's gonna be so much like smutty fan fiction now about that.
That's the only explanation for just how amazing that man is on every front.
Okay, so in a time when midwives were respected and feared, their connection to the body and nature made them targets, right? So they've got knowledge that most people didn't have at the time. So people kind of thought that was magical in its own right. So this drew a lot of reverence, but also suspicion.
I don't trust those women helping people birth babies. It's fishy.
It's fishy indeed. Well, remember that a lot of women that were midwives were burned in the witch trials, were accused of like when a baby would die, like intentionally killing the baby, things like that. Let's close this thing out. So, was the midwife punished for disobedience or for daring to see what others couldn't see?
Yes.
I mean, I don't know how anybody couldn't see that beautiful Pedro Pascal ass, so.
Anyway, I'm just going to end this abruptly. Thanks for
The end.
listening. Love you guys.
Wow.
Thank you for listening to this experimental way
I'm
of doing this
sorry. Did I
episode.
say something wrong? I ruined it.
No, you didn't. You're amazing. All right, until next time, keep your eyes open, but not too open.
Be careful, because that ass will shine through every glamour.
Well, I'm gonna go find me a ring of mushrooms.
Bye.
Stay away from the cake.